of his own past. He's got the moment in the back with the brown thumb tag that held up the list of things you gotta do. You better staple it together and call it bad weather. 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 Staple It Together by Jack Johnson is a great and fun song to play. It sounds probably more complicated than it actually is. I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to show you how to play it all conveniently on one guitar, as is the usual way here on One Shot. What you need to do to master this song and to play it with ease and a good natural feel is to be able to strum your, whether you're using pick or fingers, doesn't matter, is to be able to strum your 16th note pattern or your semiquaver pattern. And what I mean by that is this: 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. If you find that difficult to start with an 8th note pattern, all downstrokes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Once you're doing that, all you have to do is add your up strums without changing anything you do with your hand except hitting the strings on the way back up again. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Right? That is key to this song, and it's really key in that first bar. It's really sort of indicated in that first bar, where almost all of those strums, almost all except the very first strum of the bar, is on an up strum. So if you break up your bar into those 16 notes, those 16 semiquavers, and you numbered them 1 to 16, every odd numbered 16th note, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, is a down strum. Every even numbered semiquaver is an up strum. So if you are playing a 1 or a 3, it's always down. If you're playing a 2 or a 4 or a 6, it's always up. And if you kind of keep that in mind, you don't need to think about it that much once you get this natural strumming rhythm, because if you're keeping time like this, you're always strumming in the right direction on the right beat. But if you want to analyze it and map it out and count things like that, which some people do, even numbered 16th notes are up strums. Odd numbered 16th notes, starting on the 1, are down strums. Having said that, your first bar goes and plays almost all of them on the up beat, on the up strum. Followed by the second bar, which is like a transitional bar before it settles into the main riff, that goes transitional bar, then settles into the riff, which if you can get this right, you can kind of play this riff all the way through the song and it'll sound good, because the variations are very minute as you go along. They're all mapped out on your chart. If you want to download that, it's very accurate, but that shows you the little variations as well as you go. So the main riff is this. Now I have tabbed out almost all of the percussive sounds as well, because I wanted to map all those 16th notes out to give you an idea. So you start with 2 16th note percussive strums, and then you hit this pair of 5s on the G and the B strings. Use your first finger only to cover both those strings, and the tip of that finger can touch the D string and muffle that, and your other part of your first finger can muffle this top E string. What you want to do is just press down on those 2 middle strings. If you're a finger strummer, your thumb can muffle the E and the A strings, and so you've got pretty much everything taken care of. Even if you take a big swipe at these strings, you only want to hear these 2 strings. There's your 16th notes. 1 E and a 2. Right? That's how you start. So I like to put my third and pinky finger up on the 7s for the next part of that riff, and then lift them back off to that first finger. When you come across to the 7th fret of the D string, you use your third finger. Those 3 little positions there are the main positions that you need for this entire song. All right? thing I will say is that to sing this song as well as play it is kind of tricky to get those riffs exactly right. So what I generally do when I'm playing this song live is I use the whole bar chords. I use A minor and D major, right? So I'm going, it's really too bad he became a prisoner of his own past. He stabbed the moment in the back with the brown thumbtack that held up the list of things he gotta do. So again, with the 16th notes, but you just go from A minor to D major. That's what I do in the verses. When it comes to, and I will point out that the other thing that sits underneath these verses is this great and simple bass line that goes. Right? That sits underneath the riff. So when the verse starts, it's just the bass at first, then the guitar comes in. And later on in a verse, it starts with the guitar and then the bass comes in. So it's kind of swapped around. But it's very effective. If you're playing with a bass player, that's great. You could spend a lot of time trying to combine those bass and riffs together, but I think it sounds great to use those two chords, and then you can play a nice, funky, easy rhythm that's easy to sing over. When it gets to the chorus, we're going through 4 chords. We're going through A minor to D major, G major to C major, right? The rhythm, as it's mapped out on your tab, there's your verse and chorus. Now, the bits in between, like the breaks that you hear the guitar do, I've mapped them out quite accurately on your tab. We go, and you're bending those 7s with those 2 fingers, just a half bend, or even a quarter bend, coming back down to the 5s, and then back down to the 7, back down to the 5 on the D, all right? That A string. Then we slide up to the 8, right on the 4th bar of this little break. Slide up to the 8th fret on the B and the E strings, down to 7, down to 5, and then 7 on the D. So it's. Then the next 4 bars of that little break, it's an 8-bar guitar break. On bar 5, you go. On bar 6, it's a single note bend. Then on bar 7 of this break, you're sliding up. So from that 5. On an upstroke, you're sliding, 3rd finger goes up to 9 on the G string, 2nd finger goes to 8, and again, it's part of that pentatonic scale, but it's just kind of extended up partly into the next position. But it's that spot there. And you kind of slide up into it. And then the final one, you're sliding, it sounds like he actually gets all 3 strings on the 7th fret, G, B, and E strings, does a little bend, and then comes back down to just the G and B strings on the 7th fret, back down to 5. There's a lot there to try and get it exactly accurately right, but if you work around those positions and you listen carefully to that piece, you'll figure out what they're doing, and if you're not sure, look at the tab and map your way through it. I may not have played it exactly note for note here on the screen as we've done it, because there's a lot going on in that section and it's all kind of similar, but it's all based around that groove. So if you get that groove right and you keep things moving through that section, it's going to sound great. We move into that last verse that comes in with the guitar first and then the bass enters, like I said before. Then in the last double chorus, he starts doing something different with the guitar. So instead of in the chorus where he's going A minor, what you hear is a different kind of riff. Starting on the A, which is on the 7th fret D string, and back up to that position I just told you about before with a 9 on the G, 8 on the B string, but you're going 7 on the D, then that 9 and 8 position there, and then back down to 7s on the G and B, right? So it's... Then we move down to 5 on the D, and then 7s on the G and B, and then 5s on the G and B again. So 2 spots. Still spelling out those same chords, but doing it a slightly different way. That's what you hear slightly different in the guitar parts for those last 2 choruses. And sometimes it's... kind of slides back up to that 9 and 8 position there to get a little bit of that variation happening. Then the final thing that this song does is just this very last line moves into single notes and goes 7 on the D, up to 5 on the B, back to 7 on the G. It's kind of the same thing as we just did in the chorus, but finishes like that. So you'll see there's a lot of repetition for that little section here in the A minor pentatonic scale, but it's great fun to play around with. It's a really funky song. If you get kind of a little bit lost with all the little variations, like I said, go back to your tab, read through it, check it out. It's very clearly mapped out. I hope it's very helpful to you, and I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you here again next time.